Welcome to the Fresh New Podcast for modern producers, featuring beat hacks, music production tips and tricks, and business advice. The ultimate producer cheat code podcast. What's up? What's good, people? It's your boy Jules. Welcome to the first ever producer cheat code podcast episode. I'm super amped to get this thing going. And I received a lot of questions on Instagram, and I decided in this very first episode, I'm going ahead and try to answer some of these. And the first question that I received is from my homie Matt from South Africa. Shout out, brother. And Matt asked me, how do I get started in the industry? How do I get started in the business? So when I thought about how to approach this episode, I thought about dividing it into two sections. One being more general thoughts, more like mindset. And the other section more about my approach and how I entered the music industry way back. So that's actually how I want to start. So we got to zoom out. And back to the year 06, that's when I finished school, and that's when this whole journey like kind of kicked off. And back then I came up with a 4 steps plan. Number 1, finish school. Number 2, finish university. Number 3, and that might surprise some of you guys, get a regular job to secure the music dream. And number 4 being starting the actual entrepreneurship. So as I said, we got to go way back. I finished school in 06, started studying 08. And I finished my studies 2011. I was studying audio production and recording arts at SAE Institute, Frankfurt and Berlin. Much love and shout out. And after that, I moved abroad to South Africa. And now actually that's where the whole journey actually really began, because now I had to like really figure out where things are headed. So now we're at step 3, get a regular job. I think I came back, I don't know, I think I started working maybe in 2013 in a regular job. And here's the important thing. I always, in my mind, I set myself a limit. I never went into a regular job saying, okay, I'm going to work 5, 6, 7 years or even longer. I set the limit to a maximum of 2 years. And it was never about the actual length. It was about the money that I had to put aside. And my goal was to reach 10K. Using that money to when I'm actually building my entrepreneurship. So by the time, I think it was September 2014, when I quit my job, I already had like the letter of termination written. I knew I'm going to quit this job, which I fucking hated, by the way. And while I was working, I had to build up the business, obviously. I built the website, I built the logo, the graphics. I was obviously working on music. And that's when I actually finished my first ever drum kit. For those who, been following me since the beginning, that was Artsy Trap Drums Volume 1. That was a project that I actually did in 2013. Jesus Christ, that's a long time ago. So that was actually my goal. I think when I quit my regular job, I had 15K put aside, which was more than I actually was planning with, which was good because I was thinking about, okay, this actually gotta last at least a year. So that was like the time buffer that I actually was working with. Really important is to say that all my expenses were on an all-time low. I was living in a very tiny apartment. I didn't have a car or like a really shitty one. For those who remember, it was like an Opel something. And when it was wintertime, it was freezing from the inside, shit like that. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is like, I was cutting my expenses on a crazy minimum, which allow me to work with the budget even longer. And then when it was time to quit the job, I quit the job. I had money put aside. That's when I was going full time into working in the music industry. And now we actually at step 4, which is starting the actual entrepreneurship. As I said, I already had some sort of, homework that I did already. As I said, I had like my name, my website. I had the first projects going. I knew what I wanted to work with, which was sound design. I wanted to not only do music, but I set myself like a goal of I want to travel, I want to make music, and I want to live off of that music. And I think I'm kind of good at sound design. That was actually what I was thinking way back. And that was my initial thought process of going into entrepreneurship. And it's been a very, very exciting and promising journey thus far. 10 years later, and I'm still here. Ups and downs, but I wouldn't have it any other way. And just looking back, especially when you're on your iPhone and you get all these pictures and you think like, wow, that was 2016. It's like, it's crazy. But it's been such a lovely journey overall. And that was actually my approach and me entering the music industry. Now I want to go to the second part, and I wrote down some notes. So let me just quickly peep them. So let's go to the more like mindset kind of section. First being find your niche. Second being master your craft. Third being cut down on expenses. Again, cut down on these expenses. And then 4 being reinvest constantly and smart. So when you start, and this is referring to step number 1, find your niche. When you start, think about where you can see yourself in 2, 3, 5 years working in the industry. What I mean by that is you can say like, I want to have a Grammy nomination, a platinum plaque, and I was working with Travis Scott. Fair enough. Then that's your goal. Another one would be, I want to build up a website selling beat licenses. That could be one thing. Another thing would be, I want to build up a company developing plugins. Another one would be, I want to be a lead sound designer working with big companies, for example, Native Instruments. Shout out, by the way. Or you say, I want to go more into lecturing and I want to be working more on the educational side of things. And I want to work at, let's say, SAE Institute. That would be one thing. So really think about what it is that interests you and where you could actually see yourself. And where there's actually some sort of market in a way that you can actually make money. So that's actually a good thing of having some sort of goal where you want to head to. In the meantime, try to experiment as much as possible. Second thing, and I think it goes without saying, but I still have to mention it. At all times, master your craft. And I think it's so important when, obviously we all want to go out. We have family, maybe we have, relationships. But in the end of the day, we have to spend quite some time in the studio by ourselves, mastering our craft, practicing drums, piano, learning that new software, learning that new technique, whatever it is, making music in general. And it takes a lot of time. But there's something that is ongoing. Even if you set your alarm a little bit earlier, like other people go to the gym, you go to the studio, or after you finished your regular job, you go into the studio for another 2 or 3 or 4 hours working on your craft, or cancel all of the weekends, make music. You already know what it is, but I think it's really, really important to put in the hours. Number 3, let's check again. Number 3 was cut down on expenses. Obviously, I told you the story about me growing up, me getting started in the industry. I can't remember, what is it? Opel Corsa? Like this little shitty ass car. When it was wintertime, windshield was freezing from the inside as well. What I'm trying to say is cut down on these expenses, not drive like a fancy ass car, not have like this huge apartment, not go on a vacation 3 or 4 times a year. You know what I'm saying? Like really cut down on these expenses. That will actually get you a long way. And then number 4, obviously, is reinvest smart and constantly. That being said, if you're working in a regular job that's covering all of your expenses on a monthly basis, and then you're working on a project and you get, let's say, 3K in, obviously, first of all, you have to pay taxes, depending on what country you're living in. It varies, but you have to pay taxes, and then take that money, put it aside, or reinvest smart, have like some sort of investment list, like that you want to approach in terms of, that could be, I want to build up my sales. Let's say you have an e-commerce business, but your website is still lacking and you need like a proper shop system. So you want to invest in that. Or you need like a proper web and graphic design and you need like a proper graphic designer. You want to invest in that. Or you have some sort of equipment, better speakers, better whatever, the list goes on and on. Have that investment list and then go through and be like, okay, this is the next thing that I'm going to attack. And then build it up from there. I think this is actually like a really powerful tool. Write down not only your goals and set deadlines to them, but only have some sort of investment list that keeps you going, that keeps you motivated as well. I think that was it for the first episode. Thanks so much for tuning in. If there's anything else that you want me to answer, please let me know in the comments below. And let's keep this thing going. I'm definitely looking forward to more of your questions. And that was it. See you next week. Much love.